statement to the board for July order. Keep that in order.
Mr. Brittain,
Here.
Mr. Chesney,
Here.
Mr. Cox.
Here.
Mr. Fishman.
Here,
Oh, I said Fishman, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Gray,
I have a hearing problem.
Mr. Shipley,
Here,
and Mr. Ramsey.
Here.
Okay, in front of you, you've got the minutes from the April 5th meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Or Marshall, you want to go ahead and do it?
Yeah, I guess first thing, some of you all attended Friday night, the downtown concert series, so that's going really well. Attendance has been really good. I think we had 3 food trucks and getting a lot of flow of people from downtown to the green, which is what we like, helps downtown businesses as well. The brewery said they're seeing a lot of back and forth traffic with their food trucks, and so that was really good with attendance. The meeting I'm running to is actually our chamber ambassadors, but the reason I've got to run to it is we're preparing for the craft beer festival upcoming in September. I'm trying to get lots of volunteers. So last year we mainly did it with staff and about died. I mean, it was a lot of work. So our goal is to get more volunteers, and then after that meeting, we do have the craft beer festival meeting today, planning meeting with the guys from. September 25th, the day after the Ronnie Millsap concert in Pigeon Forge, which Joey told me I could not go to, because we have to set it for the craft beer festival. Not that I'm bitter or anything, that's all right. He's in Bristol in December, we'll get him then, if he's around. So that's a good event. Usually, well, the time we did it drew 5,000 to 6,000 people, so we're thinking it'll do that again. Last event we had was about 90 to 100 degrees outside, so I doubt we'll have that at the end of September again. But that's on the radar coming up. Prospects have been getting busy. Unfortunately, most of them are looking for existing buildings, anything from 20,000 square feet to 1,000,000 square feet. Right now, the only thing we have available is the Lear building, and we've not been given the go-ahead to put it out there yet. So that's 180,000 square feet. We're hopeful that a few of our other existing buildings will be able to make announcements on within the next month or so. So that's exciting. So we may have some potential new announcements coming. And we like filling those kind of older properties. If we can redevelop those, that's always good. We're not seeing a lot of European prospects yet. They're still having some issues traveling. We met with our regional industrial development folks and did some, I don't know if you call it training, but we met Irwin Utilities, and Irwin has hired a new economic development person. And they wanted to kind of meet with us and kind of see how we do things and understand. So they're working pretty closely with Germany and Europe on some projects, and said this is difficult to travel still. I think if you're going to Germany, it's still a 10-day quarantine. You cannot go to Belgium still. So they're struggling. So that's good to see the activity from the U.S. We're seeing a lot of these that are currently making products or processes in China that they're moving to the U.S. So one of the ones we may fill an existing building with would be one of those examples. Our products made overseas and they want it more centered in the U.S. For consumption in the U.S. market. Most of that's due to taxes and logistics. You know, right now it's almost impossible to get goods back and forth. It's difficult for shipping. So I think we'll see some relocation of those companies if we can get the labor issue corrected. I guess the last thing is we're planning on Senator Hagerty visiting toward the end of the month. So that'll be good to have him in town and speaking with a representative group of industries and leaders in the community and talk about what's going on in Washington, and we can kind of pitch to him what we need in our community. So as you know, one of our big focus has been the MSA, the potential loss of our MSA designation, which the federal government says that has nothing to do with your federal dollars, but every other federal agency looks at MSA designations when determining federal dollars. So the designation itself doesn't mean anything other than every other federal agency relies on that for determination of funding. So we've been in a group email with MSAs in our situation across the country, and there's been some legislation already passed to kind of shoot that down. So we're hopeful that we get a good push there, and hopefully Haggerty will have a good update for us. It does seem like all of our federal legislators are supportive of us keeping that designation. We're in a little bit of a challenging spot. Today, the designation is 50,000 people in your largest city. We're obviously nowhere near that. The new designation, they want to double that to 100,000 in your city. So that would eliminate, I think it was at 90 MSAs around the country, something like that. 91 MSAs around the country would lose designation, which would then put us into a pool of everybody else to fight for those federal dollars. So that's been one of our legislative focuses and one thing we'll hit Haggerty on. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has them.
We'll mention our Congresswoman Harshbarger is a co-signer of that legislation to cap the MSA standards. So she's tuned in on it.
Yep, that's good. We need it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right, I'll see you on
Tony?
Get them all to volunteer now.
Yeah, I hope so.
An extra day, so I made a long list because I had extra time. So several things going on with us. The council meets tonight. MUS debt is on the agenda. They are looking at refinancing a number of bond issues, I think 5 at this point, plus $7 million in new debt for water and sewer. They don't have a specific list of projects to be accomplished with that money, but council should consider getting the ball rolling tonight for that refinancing and new debt. Marshall said Friday night was a good event. It really was. I think that the momentum for moving the management of the Main Street program to the chamber is really showing its benefits. I think that we're seeing a lot of positive things coming from the chamber taking over the direction of that program. The Solid Waste Board, we're looking at taking proposals for privatization. That is on the streets right now. We had a mandatory pre-proposal meeting. 5 firms showed up for that meeting. We are continuing to answer questions and respond to concerns about those potential bidders, and we expect that will be considered by the board in August. Our airport, the first of 3 private hangars for private jets, has the steel up and is getting the siding on it this week. There are 2 more that have been approved in that project, and there is continued interest for even more additional hangars on the airfield. Very good sign where we have a waiting list and people willing to invest money in a ground lease for hangar space. So that's positive for our airport. We're working to make improvements on security at the airfield, both with key card access on the gates and video surveillance at the gates. We've had some problems in the past with people that should not be on the airfield being on the ground. So we're trying to address some of that and come into compliance with federal laws. We're working this week with TDOT to look at potential funding for the airport, including some big projects like improving our taxiway and addressing concerns at the TCAT educational facility on the field that trains airline mechanics, a program that is very beneficial both to us and to those in the program. So we'd like to make sure that we have an appropriate facility for that. Morristown Landing, our community center, is going well. The work that's being done now isn't really visible from ground level, but we've got a lot of underground utilities, pouring the slabs. Some block walls are going up. The swimming pool's been poured. We're still making a great deal of progress. We did have a setback with the state fire marshal that will probably push the opening of the facility back to the fall of 2022. But we're pleased to report we're still about $2 million under budget for the project. Stormwater, the project at Fulton Hill Park is done except for the final wrap-up, cleanup, getting grass to grow and so forth. The project at South Cumberland and the railroad is about, will be done this month. We're almost done in Cumberland, working back toward the farmer's market to get that wrapped up. Once we finally do get that done, we'll be able to move to West Main from High Street back to Fairmont. We've got some damage from the floods a couple of years ago that is FEMA supported. We're currently waiting for a flagman from the railroad to be able to schedule the contractor. Flagmen for the railroad are scheduled out of Oklahoma, so we're dealing with some bureaucracies and getting that stuff done. But that should be happening here this month as well. Our street project on West AJ from Crescent Center to Walters and Morris is about 25% done. It'll be finished this fall. If you go by, you'll notice that they're working extensively on the signal improvements there at Economy. They were pretty busy there this morning. And the state has a project that will tie into that, taking from that intersection all the way to the county line. They also expect to be done by the fall. They're currently doing patching. You've seen where they've gone and where they've been rough spots or fallouts. They've been working to fix that base before they come and resurface. The industrial access road at Progress Parkway and 25E should be going into the right-of-way phase this summer. They should bid it next summer, so we're hopeful that we'll see that improvement. And the second turn lane is a state project, second turn lane off of West AJ onto Merchants Green. That is slated for bidding in 2023. A lot of progress on the medical front. The Volunteer Surgery Center is building a second building on the far west end of West AJ in the 6200 block. This second building is 53,000 square feet of medical office building next to their existing buildings currently under construction. On Merchants Green, a 63,000 square foot outpatient facility is being built by the hospital. So we've got more than 100,000 square foot of medical facilities under construction as we speak. And then finally, housing continues to be a boom. We've got projects, single family, multifamily. The big developers are Carlisle, Mitch Cox, and D.R. Horton, but we expect to see several hundred new units come online this year. So a lot going on. I apologize for the length, but like I said, I had extra time, so I got wound up. So that's our report for today.
Any questions of Tony?
You know, most folks spend a vacation day doing vacation stuff.
Hey, you know, bragging and run your mouth, that's, you know.
Tony makes lists.
It's you on weekends.
Instead of working on lists.
What a things to do list that is.
From the county perspective, we passed our budget a couple weeks ago. No increases in fees or taxes. Local government grant was used, or it will be used to fund capital. We have about $1.3 million for paving. Regional meeting with the comptroller's office to discuss uses of the American Rescue Plan money occurred at Walter State. We'll have a discussion with the commission about how to use it in the next few weeks. The county received $12.6 million. We've drawn $6.3. 4th of July celebration was on the 3rd and went well. 4,000 to 5,000 people were there, and no hiccups there. Justice Center design modifications will be presented to the commission next Monday, and we'll proceed from there. And then the census data, we expect it in September. The redistricting plan has to be approved by the commission by the end of December. And that's what I'm about.
Bill, one of the questions that's going to come up for me to get squared away is funding for the library. Council took the position that we were ahead, waiting for y'all to catch up, so I'll need to do some comparison notes on what you gave. And
Yeah, that wasn't,
okay.
that wasn't the case.
Okay.
So we increased our funding about $8,400.
Okay.
I'll send you the
Okay.
exact amount. Anything else? Okay. Any other business? Anybody have anything want to discuss? All right, I entertain a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
I want to debate that motion for a long time, just sit here.